इतना
And welcome to the Mahtab Aziz Celebrity Lawyer Show. I hope you're well on this Friday evening. We're going to be there's quite a few things happening recently. I think a lot of things happening in the political world. Mr. Donald Trump and Ms. Kamala Harris had a debate, but the polls seem to show that it doesn't seem to have made much difference to the way that people were intending to vote in the USA. So there may well be a second one, but apparently the Donald said that he doesn't really like the prospect of a second debate. So we'll see how that goes. And in the meantime, our Prime Minister, Mr. Keir Starmer, is also in the States, having a number of meetings. We hope that they're productive and hope that they can make a difference, particularly in what's happening in Palestine. The topic today, in fact, we're going to be looking at is why it is that the Pakistan cricket team seems to be doing not as well as it should be. The Pakistan cricket team, of course, famous for blowing, shall we say, hot and cold, or when they're really working together well as a team. They appear to be very, very good. But at other times, they seem to be completely the opposite. I remember when we had the great fast bowling duo of Wazim Akram and Waqar Yunus. Those were the sort of glory days of Pakistan cricket, and we hope that we can see them again. Judging by the losses the Pakistan cricket team have had recently, it just seems that they seem to be on a sort of spiral of getting worse and worse. And we're going to be having a former Test cricketer on the show later on, looking at the possible reasons as to why this may be the case. There can be various reasons. Could be the coach, it could be the captain, it could be there's a lack of gelling between the various players. I do recall that previously, certain coaches produced a team that didn't really gel, and there was too much internal infighting, and this resulted in poor performances. I think we need probably to see a really good united team as we used to see before, and when the Pakistan cricket team is in full flow and they are performing to their best abilities, it's a great pleasure to watch them. My favourite player, or favourite batsman, I should say, used to be Javed Miandad. He was very well. He was a beautiful player to watch. His stroke play was so so relaxed, and he'd be able to spot which way the ball was going at a very early stage. He'd be able to do so well, and he made so many of those iconic innings whereby he single-handedly would win a match, and we've yet to see someone like that come back in the team. Um, Obviously, there is Babar Azam, who is highly rated. Um, but I think as a spectator, I don't seem to find that same sort of um, pleasure in sort of watching the more current batsmen. Um, Previously, we had obviously it was just Javed Miandad and before him Zahir Abbas. These sort of players had sort of a style that was really good to watch, and it doesn't seem to be apparent these days. And things might change, but I think it may be some time before we get to see players that are so good to watch. I mean, that's on the batting side. Of course, then we used to have our sort of all rounders as well, and um, some of the better all rounders used to be quite good at batting. Um, Wazir Akram would, on a good day, single-handedly win a match. Shahid Afridi similarly. He was a very good batsman, but also a spin bowler as well. So I think we need to. Well, there needs to be a greater um, recruitment of talent on sort of based on merit, and of course we do have the different formats of uh, of the game, and it would be good to see if Pakistan can get back as they used to do with their performances, both in the 50 over version and the 20 over version. Um, and of course, tests are still being played, but I think we tend to see more fuller grounds for the 50 over and 20 over matches. So, well, hopefully we should see something as sort of pleasing and as watchable that we used to see before. I remember when Mohsin Khan came to England and made a double century, and that was so good to see. And so things like that I think are missing. That we don't get to see players who are so visibly good at their game. Um, it seems these days a lot of the players although they seem to have some skills, they don't seem to be able to sort of sustain that sort of level of playing for long periods, and they seem to sort of get bowled out or run out or whatever. So we need to have that same sort of level of commitment that we have seen previously. There is there needs to be like a proper talent search, so that the players who are in fact through merit are able to get a place in the side. Um, Recently, there was a lot of criticism for a certain player who shall remain unnamed, but there was a lot of questions about his fitness, and many people thought that he was not really a suitable choice for the national team. And based upon his performances and his general physical appearance. So there seems to be a lot of criticism about the selection of players and what they basically well the basis upon which they were selected. Um, there is a lot of suspicion that players are chosen not for the right reasons. They're chosen for ulterior reasons, which probably only benefit um, a couple of people involved in the selection. So that's another aspect that perhaps needs definitely would need looking into. I do remember when Imran Khan was around that he, of course, was the person who discovered Wazim Akram. He discovered Wakar Yunis, and he wouldn't be the sort of person who would keep his skills to himself. He was always someone who would pass on his skills and pass on his knowledge. And as a result of that, we had probably one of the greatest duos, the opening fast bowling duo in Waqar Yunis and Wazim Akram. Um, I do recall that Imran Khan was actually just watching a sort of domestic match, and that's when he first saw Waqar Yunis, and thereafter took him under his wing and developed him into the great bowler that he became later on. Well, that sort of personality, as we all know, is missing at the moment. There doesn't seem to be anyone who is willing and able to forge together a great team that could play very well and that could play in a way that audiences love to see. Um, so, um, so there needs to be, I think, a wholesale sort of change in the selection process and also the training, because a lot of these players come into the team probably um, still needing to refine their skills, and that's what needs to be done. I think there needs to be an analysis of how this can be achieved, and so we look forward, hopefully, to a revamped and revised Pakistan cricket team that will attract the same interest as it used to do. As I said, we're going to be joined by a first class Test cricketer in a short while, and we will ask Monty Panesar what his thoughts are on why Pakistan cricket is at such a low at the moment. So we're going to go for a short break now, and I'll see you right after.
किसने
We provide official certification and our qualified imams are available. MTY London is based at 292 to 296 Romford Road, Forest Gate. We are open from Monday to Friday 2 to 4 p.m. or alternatively call us now on 0208 257 1786.
Minhaj Sisters UK are proud to host their biannual retreat Al Tazkiyah 2024 from the 15th of November to the 17th of November. This year, the retreat will take place in Yarnfield Training and Conference Centre at Stoke-on-Trent. We are pleased to announce that we will be joined by Dr. Ghazala Hassan Qadri, President of Minhaj Women League UK, who will be our special guest for 3 days. Join us for an inspirational and fun-packed weekend. To find out more, please visit our website www.aldazkia.com.
Moving to the UK can be rather overwhelming, but moving your money doesn't have to be. With HSBC Global Money, you can convert, send, or spend multiple currencies around the world whenever you want with no HSBC fees. So you'll be right as rain, as they say in the UK. Search HSBC Global Money, HSBC UK, opening up a world of opportunity. Available to HSBC UK customers with an eligible current account and the mobile banking app. Non-HSBC fees may apply.
Revive FM
94.0 on the radio,
on your mobile,
and online. Ya Rabbana irham lana, Ya Rabbana irham.
Yes, go ahead. Welcome back to the Mahtab Aziz Celebrity Lawyer Show. And we are back with the topic of why it is that Pakistan cricket team is going through sort of a low in its performance. And hello, Monty. Yeah, hi, Monty. Can you? We're trying to get you back on. I think there's a connection problem, and you should be coming back on again. Monty, of course, a very well-known spin bowler, played for England many a time, and had a very successful Test career. We're trying to get through to Monty. I think it may be a bit of a connection problem. We should hopefully have him on very shortly. But yeah, so it's some sort of technical hitches there, but we will get Monty back on again very soon. And as I was saying, it's I think a lot of people are hopefully in sort of hope that we will once again see those great performances that we had before, with the likes of Javed Miandad and Imran Khan, Mohsin Khan, of course, great batsman, and the World Cup, of course, in '92 was won by Pakistan because of great sort of captaincy by Imran Khan, who managed to sort of hold together this team of very different personalities, and they managed to do it against all the odds. I do recall in the qualifying rounds they didn't do sort of that brilliantly, but they got better and better, and finally won the World Cup. But sadly, it's not been repeated since '92. There were two opportunities. Pakistan managed to get to the semi-finals, but unfortunately were not able to get to the final. And there again is the lack of commitment, and it seems that there is always this possibility that when it counts, that that the team are not able to maintain that level of play required to win matches. And this is often the underlying cause of why the team may well do so well, but then fall at the final hurdle. So this is the reason why they've come so near many a time, but not managed to actually get the actual job done. So we're just hoping that they are able to do it, and looking forward to that. They're looking forward to that. Well, I hope. Monty, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you?
Oh, hi, Monty. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
Sure. Now, what we're trying to fathom here is why it is that the Pakistan cricket team going through such a sort of bad patch, and what's happened to their performances, and how they can recapture those glory days of the opening pair of Vakar Yunus and Wazim Akram. Those were glory
Yeah,
days.
I think the problem is since November 2022, they've gone through 7 coaches, and what that then breeds is like mediocrity amongst the players. They're worried about when they're going to play the next game. The quality players are not performing well, and there's just far too many changes within the PCB, and they need to stick to like one chairman, one coach, one captain, and try and just keep a consistency. Even now, like Shahan Masood, he's lost 5 test matches. They have to stick with him now. They're going to say, right, the next 6 months, this is what it's going to be like. We're going to stick with the same chairman, the same group of, captains.
Right.
With the new chairman coming in, Shaheen Shah Afridi's captaincy was removed after one T20 game, and then Babar Azam came back in. So, now they need to just have a consistency in leadership, stick to the same post, stick to a group of players and say, right, don't worry about your place in the side. Let's stick to these players and let's build a team. But if they're going to keep like changing, coaches, they're going to keep, like Pakistan's the only team that's had 7 different coaches since, like I said, 2022. That's only a space of 2 years. Like we don't see any other international team, changing so many coaches, and that's where it breeds mediocrity amongst the Pakistani players.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very valid point, and one of the points I touched upon, in the show earlier on. But I mean, in terms of changing coaches. I mean, what can lead to changing a coach? I mean, is it just a sort of like a string of bad performances, or is there some other issues, or
Well,
is
I
it
think
the
also the issue
chairman?
is, I think since when Imran Khan became obviously prime minister, he brought in the state system similar to
Mm,
Australia. Then
mm,
that allowed a lot of the players before in under the domestic cricket that they had bigger teams, loads of other teams. They've gone to Canada, America. They've gone to other places to play, and that's one of the reasons why um, uh, USA beat Pakistan because USA got stronger.
mm,
Canada's stronger as well because of that, and the pool of players are not there now. So even the PCB chairman goes, "Well, we don't have the pool of players," and I think unfortunately that system didn't work. So you
mm,
can't replicate the Australia state system. You got to
mm,
keep the domestic players like it was before because they were out of jobs, and
mm.
then the quality players left, and they've gone to play for other countries. So that's where now they've got to get back to maybe a similar system as before and try and keep a strong group of players together because the PSL is a brilliant tournament, but a lot of the players are now the skill set is for T20. But even though the domestic that competition as well during the ICC they're not doing so well because of they're afraid that well if I don't perform in this game then will I play in the next one, so they're playing game by game, which then
Mm.
focuses individuals to focus on their performance and not play as a team.
Right. Yes. Well, yeah, that is one of the reasons that we have seen that there is this sort of lack of sort of gelling as a unit. I mean, it was previously Imran Khan himself, in fact, who managed to sort of make all these sort of differing personalities, make them come together. But it seems to have become even more harder now.
Yeah, because of just too much change of personnel,
Mm,
and Bangladesh, won recently in Pakistan, and now I'm afraid they could. England is going to be even of a harder task. They've got to quickly regroup and work it out very quickly because if they don't, it could end up just being a really probably the worst time in Pakistan history of cricket. How bad they're performing, and it's just because of
mm.
so much changes. That's why.
I mean, is this similar to what happened to the West Indian cricket team? Because the West Indian cricket team at one time they were like the top team, and then all of a sudden we saw them like go down in terms of players' performances, and they became like mediocre. And are we seeing a sort of repeat of that, or was that for different reasons?
Well, I think it's just what it is, right? Is that they've got to now sit down and get some of the ex-players involved or Pakistan legends and say, right, how do we get Pakistan cricket strong again?
Mm,
Because it needs to be. It's bottom of the Test rankings. It's probably the worst place it's been for a long time.
yeah.
What do we need to do? They've appointed a few.
Oh, we seem to have lost Monty again. Well, he said some very useful, he said very useful things. I think that was very good analysis. What Monty was saying was that there are a few reasons why he feels that Pakistan are playing so badly at the moment, and he sort of outlined that by saying that there were 7 changes of coach since 2022. So you can imagine in the space of 2 years, the players are getting different coaches being drafted in, and different coaches, in fact, will have different methods and different styles of dealing and coaching. So that sort of constant changing around will impact negatively on the player's performance. And the other thing he said was that the system. Oh, hi, Monty. Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, back again. Right. Yeah. No, thank you for. Yeah. Okay. So essentially, what you're saying is first of all, that there were too many changes of coach in that sort of short period of time of 2 years, as you pointed out. There was like 7 different coaches. that would impinge negatively on how players, perform. And you also mentioned about the way that the system, as it were, you feel the previous system was better in terms of.
Yeah, yeah, in terms of domestic structure. So I think then they can have a pool of players available. Now they don't really have a huge selection,
Mm,
because I think that previous system didn't really work. And I think, you need a lot of the talented cricketers to be playing domestic cricket, even if there's too many teams, or, if they think, the condition, the competition. I know what that six teams, like a similar Australian concept,
yes.
if you cricketers, but it just doesn't work, in Pakistan, because Pakistan, I think you need a lot of domestic teams. You need the teams that play for corporates and all that, and then you then develop the talent, and then you have a bigger pool of players you can choose from. You just don't want it just to be, the only form of work they have is a PFPSL. You get me?
Right. So if I could just break this down, because I think our listeners may not be so attuned to the way things work. So, on paper, you would imagine, or you would think that a system which is sort of subdivided into regions, that should, produce, more talented players, because the ones who play better can be easily seen and selected. Um, but what you're saying is it's actually had the opposite effect.
Yeah, I think so, because what you need is a stronger, what is it, more teams and more cricketers playing in the domestic structure. So then, the guys don't actually then move away from that and play for other countries, for work and playing cricket. Obviously, everyone's got to play cricket as a living, and get paid.
Right.
But if they can do it within Pakistan, then that allows then the domestic teams to be players playing consistently, will mean that the competition is stronger in Pakistan, and
Right.
there in return won't have a adverse effect on the international team, because then if you do drop a player and you want to bring in new players, you've got a stronger group of players to pick from. But when you only have a few players get complacent. They know that they may not get dropped. And then on the other turn, also, is if you keep changing coaches, then the players start thinking, oh gosh, new ideas, new concepts. It confuses players. You get players to then not play for the team, play for their own performance so they can play the next game. So then it produces a mediocre performance. And that's what they have been doing. Pakistan have been playing in a mediocre fashion, which they're far better than that. It's only in the last World Cup, where in Australia, where they did so well. They performed really well there, but that seems like a distant future now.
Right. So there's like a sort of like a similar to sort of like a brain drain, in the sense that these players who play in the PSL, they get selected by other sort of cricket playing countries, and they sort of can't sort of resist the temptation of earning all that money in those other countries, and they get attracted away from the domestic cricket. Is that the case? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that's the case. And then what ends up happening is that these players who play in the PSL, they probably can't get into the domestic team in Pakistan, and then they end up playing overseas, and try, you know, create a career for themselves overseas, which then makes the talent of pool of players within Pakistan less. So then that's why the PCB chairman currently was saying, we don't have the quality players to pick from. I'm looking for more quality players, but there's nothing there. These are the best, what we're picking from. And then, competition breeds better players. There's less competition. And then suddenly a change of personnel will take time. It'll take time for an overseas coach to really understand the culture of Pakistan cricket. And then, you know, they've got to then say, right, we may have to lose a few games. We may even lose against England, because they're a much stronger team. But we have to buy time. We have to say to ourselves, right, for the next 12 months, it could be the worst time in Pakistan cricket. But you know what? It's okay. We're going to stick to one consistent. Is the leadership, is the captains. We try and maybe get better players involved in the game. So they may have to go backwards a few steps, but
Yes.
to come forward again. And that's something they have to do. But if they keep changing coaches like they have done, 7 coaches in the last 2 years,
Yes.
what are you going to do there? You can't
Yes.
now. They can't just say now after, let's say they lose against, let's say England, they lose another series 3-0, right? Test matches are going to start soon. Then they go,
Yeah.
right, we get rid of Jason Gillespie and Gary Kirsten and we change the captaincy. You're going back
Mm.
to square one again.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can't keep doing that. They
Mm.
have to stick to these guys, and at
Yeah.
least for the next 6 to 9 months, or at least for another year.
I mean, yes, but from what you told me, Monty, I think you should be the eighth coach. Honestly, you seem to have pinpointed. You seem to have pinpointed. The problem. That's there. And I think sometimes it does take someone looking in from the outside to be able to see the crux of the problem.
Yeah, look, that's something. If I get approached and they want me to get involved, yeah, something I'll consider. Because sometimes you're right. I'm so much away from Pakistan cricket that it's easier to look from a distance to where the problem is, rather
Yeah.
than when you're involved in the culture. I,
Yeah.
like Mohammed Hafiz was the head coach. He was friends with some of the guys. It's going to be difficult when you are so
Mm.
close to the players to then become the head coach. It's a difficult, when you're playing with them, you're great mates, and suddenly you're telling them what to do. I think it's a
Yes.
difficult task.
Mm.
So, you know, in my humble opinion, look at the other side. Pakistan
Mm.
have got Mushtaq Ahmed. Why
Yes.
doesn't he? Why can't he become the head coach? He understands the Pakistan culture. He knows the
Mm.
players really well, and that could be an interesting move if they do think, right, we've lost. Look, most likely they'll lose 3-0. Probably the
Mm.
defeats won't be as heavy, but
Mm.
I think they'll probably lose unless they have a dramatic change in their attitude and shift and just think,
Mm.
guys, this is what we need to do and
Right.
solve the inner, maybe the dressing room problems. But most likely they'll lose that one. And then if they're thinking about a new head coach and they think, right, sorry, we got it wrong, Jason Gillespie isn't for us, we don't need the foreign coaches, then I think Mushtaq Ahmed is the one because he went to Bangladesh, he's
Mm.
coached England, he's coached the West Indies, he's done PSL. He's a multicultural coach who can shift from one country to another. And there's not many coaches out there who can
Mm.
actually, get involved in the culture and make that team successful. So he
Yes.
will understand emotionally how to get the best out of the players and
Yes.
then get them as a settled unit. So that would be my choice to be. If they, let's say they hypothetically think, look, we're going to shift to an eighth coach, right?
Mm.
Then
Mm.
they should go for someone who's Pakistani, understands the culture. I think Mushtaq Ahmed would be a perfect coach for them. Head
Mm.
coach. I mean, not spin consultant, head coach.
Right. Right. Yes, I mean that all seems very logical and sensible. But sometimes, for instance, in the past, they've had Makai Yunus, they've had other sort of star players. But I've often seen that in quite a few sports, that if a player is a star player, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to turn out to be good coaches.
Yeah, look, I think that's quite a valid point, and I think sometimes when you are the star player, you got to remain the star player. So the likes of Babar Azam, keep him as Pakistan doing well when he was captain. If
Mm.
they want to do short shift and change it, bring as a change, then Shine Shah Afridi becomes a T20. Let him be Test captain, but then make sure Shine Shah Afridi's bowling at his best. Make sure he's bowling at 145. His body's in good place. Same with Babar Azam. The star players are performing, and give them whatever they need to perform at that level. Don't make them feel under pressure or make them feel confused or we bring in new ideas, new philosophies, new coaches. Right, here we go again, another series with new ideas. It takes you a test match to get used to that. You've lost it. Second test match, right, and then all right, okay, 6 months later we change the whole system again. So then what ends up doing? It ends up the star players start performing in a mediocre fashion,
Mm.
where
Mm.
then they're performing well, but they're not performing in a way where they're winning games for Pakistan.
Yes,
And
that's
that
right.
is the
Mm.
impact.
Mm. And previously, the wickets were an issue as well. I mean, because players were used to, like, dead or slow wickets in Pakistan. When they used to go to somewhere like New Zealand or or even England sometimes, then they wouldn't be able to, be able to perform at their best. I mean, have the actual wickets improved in Pakistan? The pitches?
Yeah, well, look, my opinion, I don't think they should produce flat pitches because I think they've lost like last 10 test matches now and they haven't even won. So I think they need to produce slightly green pitches because what ends
Mm,
up happening is on day one, the ball turns in
mm,
Pakistan. But
mm,
later on, as the moisture is taken out, the pitch gets harder, the soil doesn't break, the wickets get flatter. So it's become
mm,
difficult to actually get a wicket. So, in my
mm,
humble opinion, I believe that put a bit more grass on the wicket, have a bit there for the seamers,
mm,
so they don't really have to bolt quick out of there. There's something there for them to nip around. And then once the grass is taken off, day two, day three, day four, then,
mm,
there's something there for the spinners, something there. It's not as flat. I think if they change the pitch conditions, they may surprise, actually. They may just beat England to think, no, our
mm.
seamers in Pakistan are better than the England seamers. We know our conditions better. We'll have a bit of grass on the wicket.
Right, right. I see. Mm. Well, a lot of very, very wise suggestions there, Monty. I think we'll try and sort of forward that to the Pakistan cricket team if I can, and I'm sure they'll
Please
benefit
do,
from.
yeah.
Yeah, sure
Please tell
they'll
them
benefit.
green pitches. I want to see green pitches during the tour of England. That's what I
Yeah,
want to see.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, go green, go green. I think we should encourage that. Um, and just before we go to a break, Monty, I mean, in terms of your spin bowling, would you say that your type of bowling would that be, would that have some degree of success in the current sort of pitches we see in Pakistan, or
Yeah,
does it?
because well, obviously my natural way is bowling it quick, right? I bowl it quick with
Mm,
a loop and try and turn it. So if I
mm,
bowl it wicket to wicket, I only need to turn it a little bit sharply. Apart
mm,
from that, I'll probably just bowl it. With a bit of flight and then try and deceive them off the pitch because of the skiddy nature of it. So
yeah.
because I put pace on the ball, the pace protects me from not getting hit around the ground. So yeah, I believe on Pakistan pitches I will able to be successful because I
Mm,
naturally bowl it quicker. And you look at the like of Nathan Lyon, he bowls at 58, 60 miles per hour. And I actually, bowl mine about 55, 58 as well. So I can, with that pace, get it to turn. And there's not many spinners in the world who can do that. But when you
mm,
bowl it slower, you'll get it
mm,
to turn. But then off the pitch, it won't be so quick. So,
mm.
yeah, I believe I can. Yeah, I can be successful on these pitches.
Right, right, great. Well, you had a number of great performances, and you've people have sort of watched you with great sort of anticipation and joy, and I just wish that that sort of same element or same sort of aspect of playing would come back to cricket. I mean, it just seems so changed a bit. It's not like it used to be before. Before we used to, sort of savor these sort of great performances, and now sort of, I don't know, people are sort of wait for a long time before they sort of get anything like it. So I hope that does change it itself. But um, thank you very much, Monty. Really great to have you on, and I think there is scope and there is hope that perhaps Pakistan will bring back its glory days.
Absolutely, and I hope it does because a strong Pakistan team is good for world cricket. So we
Yeah.
need that emotional charged team that produces,
Mm.
just changes the game when the odds are against them. That's what we know what Pakistan cricket can do, and I really hope that they're able to do that very soon. And also, I just want to say thank you for having me on the show.
Sure, absolute pleasure, and as always, and just this last quick point. India at the moment are like on a sort of really like on that sort of level of playing that people always sort of put them down as favourites. So what would you say was the difference, the main difference between the way India is conducting its cricket team and the way Pakistan is? Obviously, the issue of change of coaches is obviously a prominent thing. But apart from that, I mean, what about the structure of the playing within India? Is that what's helping India to do so well?
Yeah, look, I think they have the Ranji Trophy structure, which is about 28 teams, and then they change it to zone cricket. So they get the best group of players from the Ranji Trophy, and then they do a Dilip Trophy team, which then, gives them an assessment to like, right, who are the best players to pick from. And then after that obviously that's the zone cricket. And then, they've got an academy, in Bangalore, which they invest heavily in. So that's something maybe if Pakistan can have their own really good cricket academy, well.
Oh, we've lost Monty there, but plenty to think about. I think we've heard Monty speaking there, and he obviously knows his cricket, so to speak. But he's made some very good suggestions, and thank you very much, Monty. We've more has come to the end of the show now. We're just going to go for a break, and then after the break, we're going to have the news. And it's been great again talking to you. And once again, thank you very much to Monty Panesar, former England Test cricketer. That's it for today, and I hope to see you next week. All the best.